I don't usually think that waiting for the right time to make a start or change is the best thing to do. The best time to start something is always now, whether that be starting a diet, changing your morning routine, or starting to learn something new. Although with the new year, I can't help but think during my time off work, and I've come to the conclusion that I would like to pivot from developing a career in film to becoming a game dev, specifically a 3D artist. And because of this, I'd like to make a sort of video diary or journal, documenting my progress in personal projects and developing my skills. These videos will mainly be for me to look back on, so I can compare myself to my past self. So let's start at the beginning. I went to uni to study film and got interested in the post-production side, which is when I discovered Blender. I was absolutely blown away with what I saw others make with it, so I immediately wanted to use it to make VFX in my student films. At the start, I made a lot of beginner level projects which didn't end with any significant results. I was learning a lot, but still couldn't get things to look how I imagined. But these small projects eventually led me to create one of my favourite films so far, The Lonely Butterfly. This was a solo production film as one of our course assignments, and because it was a solo production, I decided to create a virtual character, which would be the butterfly. This project used skills that I was learning like 3D tracking, modelling, animation and rendering. At the time, this was a massive project for me, but I was really proud with the end result. If you want to watch this film or see any of my other projects, I'll leave links below where you can see any of these projects which I've got uploaded somewhere. But at uni, I also made other projects which I was really happy with, one of these being a robot arm. This project I wanted to challenge myself and see if I could make a virtual object interact with an actor by passing them a mug. And I think this was successful, even though there is a pop when the mug's handed over. But for a first try, and when I was new to VFX and Blender, I was so happy with this. And another project was this explosion project, which I was getting interested in explosion simulations and fire and smoke. So I wanted to see what I could do with that, so I tried to emulate a grenade explosion, which I think looked pretty good, although there's no environment destruction, no building destruction, which would take this to the next level. But still, I was happy with this as well. After uni, I worked on a few personal projects to add to my portfolio. The first one being Castle Ruins. I created this during one of the weekly render challenges held on Clint's Discord. For this, I just got some stock drone footage and had the idea to place, a castle ruins on the mountainside. I also made a Pixel 2 phone asset. This was to show asset creation and product lighting, and this 3D tracking showcase. This is pretty much a showcase of my knowledge of 3D tracking at the time. I also wanted to try 3ds Max and Maya, as I know these are big in the industry and I was looking at being more employable. So I made a few models to get started. A grenade. This is an asset created following a tutorial just to get me started with using Maya. A pistol. This was my first proper project going into Maya, and it did take me a bit of time to get it to this point, but I am really happy with the finished asset. I did have some unfinished projects while learning 3ds Max and Maya as well. I tried modelling a car, which felt like quite a big task at the time. I'm happy with the start and think this could have been a really good portfolio piece if I carried on. After that, with the goal of getting some freelance work, I created an ad for adding text to footage. After that, I did manage to get some freelance work. This included some compositing and some very small 3D work, as well as some screen replacements for a short film. And that brings us pretty much to where I am now. So here's what I'm currently working on. This is my most recent VFX project, where I was planning on creating a helmet asset, recording a short sequence, and then 3D tracking that helmet onto an actor. I also started working on a VR mobile ArcViz project with Godot. I got mega excited about creating this VR mobile project as my partner was making loads of house floor plans as I was trying to improve my 3D modelling. I began a challenge where I planned to spend 100 hours modelling house interior assets and got sidetracked making this app. I got this far, having the VR view implemented with stereo environment viewing, so I could render a 360 stereo image in Blender and run it on my phone. But creating UI, switching textures, and adding features seemed impossible to me. I've only spent about a month coding at this point, so I put this on pause until I can learn more. And my most recent project, a wizard game. This is pretty much a learning project. A simple idea using simple game mechanics so I can learn the basics. Essentially, you'll be a wizard that can cast a spell to get past the enemy so you can gather your hidden possessions. I would like a simple potion system to give you power-ups if you collect the right ingredients. But with those two mechanics, I hope to create a small story for you to play through. So, my goal for the year is to finish the helmet VFX and learn Godot by making games. Also, I want to make some quality 3D assets or environments that are more tailored towards games. To do this, I plan on making micro projects with a mobile game dev setup I put together. Video coming soon about that. And for these micro projects, there's a great list online, which is like a loose guide to your 20 first games you should make when learning game dev. And these start with really simple games like Flappy Bird or Pong, just to get you the very basics of understanding game dev. They'll slowly increase in difficulty so you can gain a good base of fundamental skills. But as well, I'd like to get this wizard game completely finished and publish it somewhere. I hope at which point I'll be in a better position to continue the VR app and start making 3D games. Thank you for watching, and I hope to continue this series by making a project update every 3 to 6 months.